Hello everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So the movie of today is Life. By the way, why is this movie called Life? Have you ever come across a movie with such a high concept, with such a mundane and nondescript title? I don't think so. Why couldn't you have called this movie just about anything? But that is not going to affect this movie's rating at all, which by the way is going to be pretty fucking good, because this is by and large maybe the single greatest Alien ripoff of all time. There was just one thing I thought that they could have done which they chose not to do, because when I saw the trailer for Life, they were talking about, how you treat something, is how they will treat you back. And I thought that this movie was going to be that they initially, treats this creature in a friendly manner, but when they treat it in a hostile manner, that is when the creature, strikes back and tries to kill everybody. Because this is basically, a crew on a station and a creature on the loose. This is basically, your classical Alien concept. But they ended up not doing that at all. They toyed with the concept of, the treatment thing a little bit, but ended up not doing it at all. But we're going to see why I think this movie is so fucking great, shall we? This is Life. The scientists of this space station has found a single cellular organism from a sample from Mars. They're trying to bring it to life and see what they have found it essentially. And it's a small little creature that looks innocent and, harmless enough. But it escapes and it tries to, kill everybody, and now they're running around on the space station trying to, find a way to combat this thing. But because it is a really resilient creature, it's really fast and it's completely merciless. First of all, I love the design of this thing because it has no feature. It looks frail, but it is also strong as hell at the same time. And because it has no features, you impose your own fears on it. And I actually think that it was quite an astonishing design for it. If you found the design of the creature bland, I can totally understand it, but for me, it worked like a charm. The thing is that I love this movie almost from the get-go. The style of this movie was a different thing. The atmosphere and the tone of this movie was so serious. And Daniel Espinosa really tried to make this a science movie rather than a science fiction movie. And I appreciate that. And I like the characters. There were no red shirts really in here, and you really cared for them. Jake Gyllenhaal is great. Ryan Reynolds is great, and Rebecca Ferguson is fantastic. So we have a very solid cast and we have very solid characters. And now there is just going to be a lot of terror in space. In a way, you could say that this is a movie that reminds me a little bit of Gravity and Alien, even though it cannot, get up to the lofty heights of those two movies. But to be fair to this movie, I think that it actually came kind of close to those two movies. They are still better, but I still think this is quite a great movie. So we have a good premise, we have a good setup, and we have a fantastic execution of the whole thing, because there is not a calm moment in this thing. There is a criticism that the characters in this movie are kind of dumb, to the point where if their brains would have been, fueled by petrol, if they had a scooter, it couldn't propel a fly, rounding a teardrop. But I don't know if I agree with that. I think that they made some maybe kind of not the most rational decisions of all time, but I didn't find them to be stupid or anything like that. Maybe it is just because I was too entertained to notice this, or maybe I just didn't care. Nevertheless, I was with this movie from the get-go, and I didn't see where this one was going. And when that third act hit and they went into absolute overload, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. And then they delivered what I would consider one of the best twists in 2017. Now, I will say this, and I will emphasize this, and I've said this a million times, and I will say this a million times more. Whenever I sit down to watch a movie, I have a tendency to forget all the tools that Hollywood uses in their story, all the tricks and all the twists that they're using. And I always become about 5 years old when I see a movie. Oh, I didn't see that one coming, I said. While the entire world says, huh? We saw that coming a mile away. Same thing here. I absolutely love how this movie ended. It was a great combination of a twist, the acting, the visuals, and of course the song that they're playing when the credits are rolling. Going up to the spirit in the sky, that's where you're gonna go when you die. Oh, I don't know why, but I just love it so much. This is a classical sci-fi horror movie. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Even though this story has been done before, I think this is way more well made than it usually are. So thumbs up for that. And it had a great soundtrack. I love the characters, and also there was such dread that this movie was drenched in, and I have missed that in my sci-fi horror movies as of lately. And so this was a breath of fresh air in my opinion. Is it original? No. Is it well made? Yes. Did I walk away from this movie feeling absolutely splendid? Absolutely. And when I rewatched the movie, despite knowing how this movie ended, it still pulled off that ooh ending, which I absolutely love and I absolutely adore, and what I live for when I go to see a movie. This is a movie that will not be enjoyed this much by everybody, but for me, this was damn near perfect when it comes to alien rip-off scenarios. A good bunch of Hollywood stars, great characters, great soundtrack, great effects, and a style of their own, and a spectacular visual style. I give this movie 88 points. It's one of my most positive surprises of 2017, and it is fun to see Ryan Reynolds being super serious for once. So I'll see you next time from Well So and So Reviewing Well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.